Hi everyone, welcome to the first episode of Tea with Tempest.
This is episode 1 of a series where there's 5 female filmmakers with a lot of talents just talking about general life and... Hey? I was so good then!
I thought we weren't swearing.
Oh, don't swear in the intro.
Yeah.
I thought it was a good intro.
Hey baby, how you doing? Welcome to Tea with Tempest. 5 female filmmakers just discussing general life, having a little meeting for upcoming projects and discussing what we want to do in the future. So I'm Lauren.
I'm Faye.
I'm Amy.
I'm Francesca.
I'm Siobhan.
Siobhan is our lovely producer, helping us even though we're really annoying right now.
We're all just screaming.
And we got some topics coming up. Just waiting for Francesca.
So basically what we're looking at today was stereotyping of women in media. So that could be like social media, more traditional media. And just thought I'd put that out there for everyone's thoughts and what our challenges
Yeah, I think
might
that's
be.
a great topic.
Thanks, Amy. That's a great topic that I have nothing to say about, but I really like that topic. I like that topic.
Oh my days.
So we did an interview with your girl on film, and basically we were talking about all the challenges, even like us just coming into the industry. Tempest is only still about a year old.
Yeah, less than a year.
Yeah,
Or just
no.
about a year old. It was about because we met doing the drama we did last year, and then I pulled you together and was like, let's make this.
Because when we were talking, maybe let's think about it maybe more positively, like we're working in a really like supportive team and like we're able to collaborate and develop ideas together, and I think like people can be quite shocked that women can actually work together rather than stamping on each other. And
Yeah, I think it's not always the case that environments like happen, like because we always support each other's ideas and we always sit down and like discuss the ideas, but I think a lot of us can say out of experience working with like a more majority company where there are more men, the whole thing can happen a bit differently, and it often happens that whatever idea you have and how good it might be kind of gets shot down. It pops back up, but it's like a man with a louder voice, and all of a sudden it's a brilliant idea.
Exactly, but I find in our meetings, whatever any one of us pitches, we're like, yes, that is the best thing I've ever heard in my life. And I'm like, so we link in our experiences, which means we kind of come up with generally the same type of things, which means we actually make stuff we're all passionate about. Like when we Faye had what would you call it, a theatre show?
Oh yeah, I was in a play.
Lost Boys by
Luke Barnes.
Luke Barnes, there's a little plug there. And it was about toxic masculinity, and that instantly I thought, I was like, I'm so down for, because I believe in that, and that was just something you happened to have just got in and filmed with you. Would you like to talk about that?
Yeah, so I did a play this year, collaborating with the National Youth Theatre. The organisation's trying to build more connections with the North. Again, if we're talking about representation, having Northern artists is really seen in media, so having big outlets like that champion us was fantastic. It was like a musical, sort of a musical, play with music, about loads of different topics to do with toxic masculinity. Actually, it's worse for the smaller communities because they feel like they can't speak out about it because no one cares.
Yeah.
So you could say for us, because we're a small company, that we're not going to have an effect, but us giving a voice to, say, like we did about a guy called Mr. Old Hall Street who was a homeless man, and without giving him a platform, without saying, your voice is recognised, and we can do that through media.
Yeah,
definitely.
But that's the importance of having creative outlets.
Yeah, you could say we're a small company, but he wouldn't have had that platform without us.
No,
so
not
with
at
our
all.
small brand, we built a stage and gave it to him, which was a massive thing in his world. And I think we gathered loads of people together for that
and
night.
he was able to get up on that stage and like with pride, and he always wore like funky suits and stuff like that, and to kind of showcase. And obviously we did our own individual speeches, and I think it was like initially we're just trying to build a community, important things, and we're working on a few projects, and it's just about like keeping the stories about people. Do you know what I mean? There's so much going on, and like that's how we can connect through
That's what's
the
gonna make us
narrative.
different.
Local representation is so important, because the mass media is not going to come to us anytime soon. I don't see the Daily Mail coming and getting
soon.
literally Daily Mail getting a train down to Liverpool anytime soon. So it's like, let's make our own. And
Exactly.
I think, and you can do basic things like grabbing a camera. You can do, look, iPhones nowadays and stuff. It's so easy.
Nowadays.
Sorry, she's trying to make good points here, and we're like, I know what you're saying though, because like I feel like there isn't that many opportunities for the stories that we want to tell, and especially for women in our industry right now. Yeah, we're in fashion, but it's only the beginning of
Absolutely.
like we're kind of capitalizing on the fact that
We're
women
on
are
trend.
We're on trend right now. And why not? Yeah, but why not? Because
We deserve it.
Yeah, exactly.
At this
Patriarch,
rate.
it's been many years. Why
Give
can't
us a wee break.
Yeah, we'll ride it. But in terms of like opportunities for women, if there's not a seat at the table, then like build your own table, invite your own fucking guests, and enjoy that shit.
And Lauren also works in IKEA if anybody wants a table or chairs. Please contact her directly.
Yeah, I'm a wardrobe designer and flat pack queen.
Bedrooms.
Yeah, but it's quite funny because people always think there's like, in order to do something or be something in the media industry, they have to go to like big massive hubs like London or all these places, but there are so many local stories that you can cover that you can make interesting, and that's kind of what
But
we're
are
doing
more
at the moment
unique as well. I think that's the thing. There's obviously there's so much being told about bringing awareness to homelessness and all those kind of topics, but I think when you bring it back to that community setting, like it isn't your stereotypical narrative of look at these vulnerable people. Like what we tried to showcase was, okay, people different reasons, but they were able to look at their life and be like, okay, I can still do this, I can rejuvenate, and like you know, and that was built by human connection.
And that's why we went for Mr. Old Hall Street, because he was on the streets, but he was really open about telling his story. So what we didn't want to do is pull on like heartstrings and get that classic black
vulnerable
kind of just like lay on the floor. Like we did actual current homeless people, but we sat there and we asked. I remember asking that woman why she was there, and her mum wasn't great, and then she had loads of siblings, and she just ended up on the streets just through.
Well, she was trying to escape, she was trying to escape her inevitable circle, but in the end, like that's her way of coping.
And when we looked at the statistics, women don't last past 40 on the streets, as opposed to men go to about 49,
47, I think it was. Yeah.
It's insane, and I just like I don't know how they do it. Like to be a woman on the streets, like it's just basic things, like not even having a wash. Like I can't go a day without like me nunny
sanitary
being a bit like I get so anxious about it.
That's what we think of, but listen, I reckon at that point where you're on the streets, they won't care about that. What they care is about, I'm not going to get raped tonight. I can't sleep there tonight. Like for men, everyone on the streets is bad, but for women, if you look at the sexual assault cases in general, women, imagine women who are sat on the cold streets in Liverpool with drunk men walking by every night. That's where my mind went. Like that's just for me, like one of my worst fears, and you can't even imagine. The woman we spoke to was like 20 something. It was crazy. But I know what you mean about you can't wash your vag. But that's so vag.
Yeah, I thought it was meant to be family friend.
No, just the intro.
Just the intro.
We've captured you now.
I've
got your mind.
Thing about like that night, because obviously I wasn't part of like Tempest then. I was just in the audience watching, supporting, and
Y'all.
it was just like,
Did you donate on the door?
yeah.
If you didn't, get out the door. Can you do it now, please?
Yeah, I'll PayPal. But no, it was like, because everyone in the audience that like we were sat by and stuff, like you could see that everyone was like moved and had goosebumps after, and that the guy, I don't know his name, the Old Hall.
Mr. Old Hall Street.
Mr. Old Hall Street.
You can call him Brian.
I love you, Brian.
Big up Brian. And that you could see that he was like not loving the attention, but just loving like these people like
awareness,
listening to his story and like giving him like just seeing him as a homeless person. And he was on stage and he was like doing a speech and stuff, and everyone was like clapping and giving him like high fives as he was leaving and stuff, and you could just see like a massive like glow and confidence boost.
I know, but it's important that everyone gets that their moment, you know, and not necessarily that, but like through him telling his story, like we got to meet like Elle, and just all those different connections, and like how we're just interlinked, and if we support, and in my speech, love in French. Yeah, that was a moment.
One specific thing from your speech, how you say girls, and you were like, you said it many times. You were like, I'm so inspired. I can't do it. Can you say inspired by these girls?
by girls.
I could not listen to it. She kept saying it over and over again, and I was like,
I'm so inspired by these girls.
Yeah, but you were drunk.
Girl.
Okay. I'm so inspired by these girls.
Yeah, I didn't think so. Here, I had my first
I
Scouse.
haven't seen the video if you want me to like stream it right now.
I got my first Scouse curly blow. Faye was get yourself a curly blow. So I went in, I was like in the hairdressers. Usually we call it like a blow dry, and I was like, I'm here for a curly blow. And she was like, sat me down, and she's like, are you ready for this? And I was like, can you pin it? She was like, you must have a Scouse friend. And I was like, yeah. So then I just ran around with my hair all pinned up and I was doing the lighting.
Be on my to-do list for the next event. I
Do you
want
think
that.
How much it cost?
Oh, that was
They go
spendy,
great.
but there was wine involved with mine.
Do you know what I mean? If it
Ding-ding.
comes as an experience, then it's lovely.
I
too.
just-
Do you know what
I
I mean?
can't.
Oh my God! Right.
No,
We'll
we
put a
wanna
rule
keep
in
the
now.
only
If
Scouse
someone
girl.
comes for my accent one more time, you should all.
comes from my action.
I swear to God, I'm gonna rock you all.
Yeah.
I'm gonna rock. I'm gonna rock you. But
Fucking
interesting
pigeon,
point. I
mate.
just wanted to pull back on that though. You said about you know, getting your curly blow and how we all really done up for the event.
And you looked fabulous, I may add.
Oh, stop yourself.
We look the best. Competition.
Yeah, seriously, who looked the best? Tell us now.
Sold Hall Street.
I was just
Big
gonna
up,
say
Brian.
though, do you feel like wonder if it would have been I'm not trying to say that people don't like to dress up, but is it that because we were hosting an event, we had to have an appearance to be like, we look professional, so can you deem us as professional
I just
now?
wanted to look
Like if
good.
we no, but in the sense though, could somebody have turned around and turned up to our event if we all would have been in jeans and a t-shirt?
No.
So but if a group of boys came in a jeans and a t-shirt,
But they
you're
don't
the
really
next
have
Steve
much
Jobs. You're the
range.
next. No, but do you know what I mean? Like, how come? Like, let's say Steve Jobs, he was known for just wearing black t-shirts and black jeans because it was all about concentration for him. But I don't know many women who don't have an appearance. If it's a hair feature, if it's a item of clothing, like there's
Yeah.
always something.
But I think it's because it's so deep rooted into us, whether we even know it or not. When you read magazines, it's like pictures of women and like, oh, what they're wearing. Sorry, what they're wearing that day, and even it is just our culture as well. Like we're all girls who like to have outfits and look. But when you put it in perspective like that, if we'd all turn up in just baggy jeans and t-shirts, I think it would be like, oh. Like there'd be a small conversation about it. That's not a big deal, but it'd be like, oh, okay. And especially because,
I think,
Yeah.
It's just by being professional.
but in addition to that, it might be like a cultural, like a country-based thing as well. If you look at a lot of like offices and people in America, like Silicon Valley and that, they don't even wear, like even the bigger offices, they don't really have office wear anymore. They just all wear jeans and t-shirt, and I think it's like both or like all the genders. Whilst here, people just kind of still like to make that bit of effort.
I
And I
mean,
think we all enjoyed to make that effort as well.
There's-
yeah, exactly. I feel
you went
in-
to Topshop and bought that jumpsuit that day. I couldn't fit my tits in here.
no, because the problem was I was away and I had no clothes, so I had to buy an outfit. But like, there's that thing again of women in the workplace are still being made to wear heels.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, let me just wear my platforms. Like, I've got that height on
I mean,
you.
the only reason I bring it up is because I was meant to tell you. So I watched a documentary yesterday called Girls on Girls, which is a BBC 3 documentary about 5 different women from 5 places across the UK, and them all finding out about the different lifestyles that they live. So one of them was like a mother of 3. One was a Scouser, but she was also a poet, but she was Muslim. So how she was dealing with being like a Muslim Scouser. There was another girl who was a nurse by day and a sex worker at night.
That's
And
amazing.
then the last one, there was another lady who was homeless on the street with her old child. And then another girl who I thought was, it was Girls on BBC 3, it's amazing. And then there was, the last girl was talking about being, she's sort of like a bodybuilder feminist. So she shaved her head, which is kind of like a goal of mine, but she and they were like, why did you shave your head? And she said, because I don't want people to like me on my appearance. I want them to like me on my personality. So I make myself as unattractive as possible. And I was like, what? And then, but I thought that was a really interesting thing though, because I wonder if, I'm not saying, like, let's have a look at Harvey Weinstein. He's not the best looking fella. He's not. But how come? Do you know? I'm just trying. I don't know. Like,
No, you're saying.
Her by like shaving her head and putting the standpoint is I want to make myself as unattractive as I can shows how messed up she is by her
perception of beauty.
How much she's internalised it.
Yeah, you've internalised it to the point where you've had to make those decisions, to actually, like, a woman's hair is a big part of, like, her. Like, I know it's not everyone, but I think it is.
No, I agree. Like, I think it's definitely a person.
But she's been hit so hard with being sexualised that she's got to the point where she's like, I have to do this, which really fucked up.
Yeah, I think it's the sexualization of almost every body part a woman can own that brings women like that to make these decisions. It might not, like, we don't know.
Well, we want to do a documentary on it, so stay tuned.
It's such a big thing, and I think every woman who has ever existed is how from such an early age on, growing boobs is being sexualized, having a bum's being sexualized. Like, even if you remember, like, this is just something that
I don't know about that.
Well,
She's a beautiful woman.
Shoulders, ankles, that's history.
no, but example how early on it starts. Don't know if you remember that. That was like a really traumatic experience that I'm just pouring out. But do you remember, like, in middle school when there was like this group of boys, and I think it happened in like so many schools, and they'd have a list with like the hottest girls of the class, or, like the hottest girls of the year, and they would rate like the boobs are 9 and like but the bum are 5. But like it was a thing that happened in schools. Like it was obviously based
Was it published,
on
this list?
something. It was unfortunately
But
not
they're,
published. But it doesn't matter because I wasn't on it.
Oh.
But I don't care now because wearing wooden clogs then
Yeah. Was
And your
comfort.
orange
makes me not want to wear them now.
But it is that thing though, like, why it's funny that you bring that up, because it's I remember that happening in our school, and there was like a trend at the time, and it was like hot or not, and literally lads. Do you remember it? And it was like lads would so what they do, they put a status out and say, if you want to participate, like this status, and we'll rate if you're hot. So obviously at the time, like, we're also, you know, young, you're crippling with insecurity, and at the time, I think for me, it's like, I went to an all-girls school, that's all I ever knew, so having a validation of a boy was a big thing for me. So I remember putting my name out there, and I remember it was like at least 100 girls, like, that status. It
Them
mad.
boys don't want to know.
Yeah, it was mad. So they released the video, and it's like, Leanne hot, Kelly hot, Jane not, and it was going and going and going. And then obviously, like, the older I've got, I'm like, how messed up that is.
Yeah, 100%.
But that was a trend, and I think that is still a bit of a
challenge.
Yeah, 10-year challenge. Like, there's always like
The Grow Babe Challenge, just a little plug.
But it's always like, I think the parents of those boys, if they wouldn't have been confronted with that at the time, would be like, oh, boys will be boys.
Maybe I know,
problem.
but it is like kind of like, we're not shaming men, like they're born into this culture as much as we are, you know, product of their surroundings as much as we are, and we've decided that we don't want that. We're going to take a different stand, you know.
They also have to take responsibility though, because it's the men who created those ideas in the first place. So through discussion and through open conversations like this, we can make change. But if you look at streams of evidence, if you look at history, it has been led by men. So we make that change and go, that's not okay.
Yeah. And us discussing it is not saying that we hate men, because
No, absolutely not. No, that's absolutely not.
No, but we do want to talk about the stuff that they do wrong, and like it just needs to change.
Everything needs to be.
But like that's what I mean. Like sometimes people are oblivious because that conversation's not out there. Do you know, people don't realise that they're wrong. So like just having a chat and like not being like, if someone does something, like not like screaming at them, being like, why did you do that? Like if a guy or a man in the office, or do you know what I mean, that kind of thing. And I think that's, if we just like communicate.
It's communication and planting seeds. So in like work, because if you have a go at a man for saying something that you find inappropriate in the workplace, like it's happened before, making a joke, I won't pop off and go to HR, like, unless it obviously was really bad. I would literally just plant a seed and be like, why do you think you said that? Did that make you feel stronger as a man? And then they will be like, oh, but then you plant those seeds and it's stuck in their head. Slowly change someone, but you can't do it by shouting at them, because they'll just call you a bitch and a bossy and you just got to ignore them. I'm so sorry to say Bossy bitch.
Yeah, edit that
And
out.
yeah, I think that, and I think.
But what's the best platform for discussing this? Is it still like, because obviously social media now is so surrounded by toxic posts and everything. What do you think the best platform for like digital communication would be of this kind of?
Probably any platform where you find
An
the
opportunity.
actual, where it actually happens, and any time it actually happens.
But I think online there's so much animosity. Like people have like a wall up and they'll say whatever they want because it's not in person.
That's what I mean. I think if you do it first, it's like you're kind of jumping in at the deep end to have like this massive effect, and as much as everybody's got a voice and everybody is important, I think if you make that local change first, then you'll start to see surroundings better. Like as you said, talked about with our play, the main character in the play goes to different community. And through that makes a play about it that he takes like across the country. But talking about his town, he was trying to do it so he could expose others to the things, to the lack of mental health support that there is. So I think people to really do it, it's just if people, if people create something about a certain topic, go and see it. If someone brings up a discussion in a pub and you don't feel comfortable with it, you don't have to get involved, but just listen. And I think that's a big thing, is just sometimes we always feel like we've got to make a statement. I have to wear this, I'm against this, I'm this. Sometimes you just don't. Sometimes listening and taking other people's opinions in or different life stories in, it can really expose you to different behaviours and whatever.
There we go, stories, linking. It all comes back to the same thing.
So that's why you should support Tempest, because we're telling stories all the time.
We're going to move the conversation in a different direction now and back to Tempest.
Yeah.
Because that was really nice. That was a nice little section. But actually, I think I already told Amy and Francesca. I've not told you. Play.
Here we go.
On live on air.
Live action.
I was in pub the other day. I was in the pub the other day and I was a bit drunk and I got talking to this guy. Basically, I was a bit drunk. I met this guy. He's a computer scientist. He codes for a bunch of companies that work with doctors and
Healthcare settings.
Healthcare settings. We're not mentioning companies. But basically, he was talking to me and they're currently coding and working on the AI, a certain type of AI, predict through a bunch of data about, what do you call them?
Your lifestyle?
No, not victims, not customers.
Patients. Yeah.
Sorry, okay. Bunch of data about patients and then predict whether they have cancer or not or will get cancer. And it was really interesting because he was telling me he's just that computer science behind it, but it's really going into effect and they're getting funding for it. So I'm talking to him, I give him my email, and today I get an email from the company and they want Tempest to go in and do a short documentary about it. Hey, so long story short, get pissed in the pub, make contacts.
We seem to be the kind of group though that's quite lucky when it comes to covered yet.
Yeah.
Because it's a similar thing with the one that we're currently working on.
Yes, tell us about it.
So
go on.
We're currently in conversation with a really nice lady called Swan. Shout out.
Shout out to Swan.
And she's one of the leading heads behind an app or a blockchain system that's preventing child and human slavery and human trafficking all over the world, really. And they're working on an algorithm with which not just official authorities but people that they teach and educate, they're basically building their own community. They're going to these countries and building a community of people that can use the blockchain, and then if they see anything suspicious or anything that could indicate that there's something illegal going on, which would then help track certain human trafficking rings and paths and how they're getting into different countries and stop things, because often track can be lost really easily once they go over the borders. And sometimes authorities are really corrupt as well, which is really a big problem in a lot of countries, especially in Asia, where there's just this huge amount of human trafficking going on. And it's also funded, but they haven't had anyone covering the story yet, which again leads back to the whole thing of covering stories in your community. A lot of people just don't see the potential there. And they were desperately looking for someone to help them out, make videos in the future that they can then send over to these countries, and it's an ongoing job, and they basically asked Tempest as well, so we're quite lucky when it comes to that.
It's perfect though, that topic comes into what we are as a company. Like, yes, we do commissions and we want to make money and we do make money, but the important thing about us is stories that need to be heard or that we all feel need to be heard that aren't told. Things like that. We were the first ones to contact her and she's not been contacted about it. I think that's a really interesting topic to...
Yeah.
But people only want something when it's mainstream, like they won't want it in the development stages really, whereas we want to give it that exposure, so then it has a bigger platform, then can go in. I feel like we've talked ourselves out. We're all like, and this is the enthusiasm of Tempest Studios.
No,
we all like a good chat.
Well, yeah, we do chat. But I think what I love about the working with all of us is like we are all storytellers and we have things that we all love to do. Like, you know, we've all got a bunch of skills, but we all bring that together. And I mean, I can't say myself, like, I was going through a really rough time last year. I felt like I didn't really have any support. Really was in a bubble where I wanted to express myself, didn't know how to do it, and then bumped into these lot.
Literally.
and like honestly, I can't say it enough to anyone who is a storyteller or just wants to say something, is go and find people with similar interests, go find people with passion. Every single one of us in this room is from a different place, and that's what makes us unique, because everybody's got a different perspective and new things to say, and I can't tell you how much I love these girls in this room. Like my heart fills up with, honestly it does, it really does fills me up, and it's because, you know, we are based in Liverpool, and when we did our first event, we did it. Oh my God, what was it called?
Cavern.
Actually,
our first event was where the Beatles.
I know, yes.
Aiming high.
But it was quite interesting to see us this event. Honestly, it is quite unique because there's not many. I mean, I'm only speaking from. I mean, I'm not saying Liverpool's a small town, but I mean, it's not.
To you, it must seem small.
Yeah,
to us,
me.
because it's your hometown.
Yeah.
And like having that event here, it was, when I really think about it, that was a really big thing, like that we did. No one, I might just be keeping it to our uni course, but no one in our uni course has done that. And I was talking to...
In our age group.
Nobody
Nobody
in the sixth form that I went to, nobody in... Or I've done tons of drama courses where they preach about go and get your own opportunities, make the stuff. And I feel like for some people it goes in one ear and comes out the other. But honestly, it's the best. Go and just make stuff. Yeah,
the next event we do, we need to make that a networking one, because I feel like we were so rushed and I cried a lot.
Yeah, oh my God, I
remember when I was stressing out? And
you're like, decline.
But like, the time that we're going to do it next, maybe the end of November, that's when we really plan out, we get press there, or you know, actual coverage of it, because it could have been in whatever your newspaper here is called.
Oh,
the more I think about it. Yeah, the Echo.
Not the Sun.
Not the Sun. The Sun.
But in my whole soul just went what?
No, but for the next time, I think we should really try on networking.
But also,
I think the thing that we should change next time that would help with the networking is, after we showed what we had to show and said what we had to say, it was just like, it wasn't we need an open discussion next time, and the music for the first part to be a bit quieter so people can go round, and we had everyone on tables, and next time I think if people would stand, they'd kind of mingle a bit more.
You must stand for 3 hours and listen. No,
I think last time it was all over.
Bring them in after, we can have discussions at the bar.
Because we could have predominantly Warrington people, but like this time I think we should invite other creatives. Like,
so if you want to come to our next event,
in the scale of sense of again, you know, we were talking about social media and how people go to the big platforms to do it. I really think we should get more local artists involved, whether that is music producers, you know, who are the people who are really making the stuff here, because they're the band of people that are going to help elevate our work. Because if we try and go and say, do you know what, let's get the BBC in, they're not asked. Like, do you know what I mean? They've got...
But if the BBC
want
want us,
you will say no.
we will say yes.
I adore the BBC, and we haven't got that credibility to be there. So I think we as a company and
we love the BBC.
Artists, we love. Oh my God, we do love the BBC.
You're only saying that because we want the BBC.
I'm just saying,
we're doing reverse psychology.
If you look at how the BBC started and how, like, let's have a look at Fleabag, for example. The reason why
why you bring this up now?
But the reason she worked is because she brought people in that she knew. All of the theatre show is her family. And all of the technicians...
What, the sound?
Yeah, and then the actors...
Her sister did the music.
And when she did the TV show, she pulled an actor from one of the uni courses that she did. So do you know what I mean?
Was that her sister?
The one who plays her sister in the show. So it's bringing people. It's bringing people from like your.
Pencil.
It's me when I got my French.
No, it's French.
Yeah, it's bringing people into the
arena.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. It's like, but the artists who are making stuff now, like I just,
Oh, I wasn't doing that.
Go on, Siobhan.
No, just to go back on like what you said about us all being from like different places and stuff, and like Liverpool being a small town and everyone supporting each other. I think in Liverpool, like, it's a small place, like, in comparison to, like, many other cities, and we have, like, such a big, like, creative, like,
bubble?
Scene. Yeah, bubble, and, like, you know, like, everything down the Baltic and stuff, like, everyone kind of, I think, chips in together, and Liverpool is, like, such a good place for creative people to
100%
to be born born really,
and like to get to know people and to like share
new perspectives. But the city is getting so much better. Like if you think about our comparisons to the 80s when we were such a poor city, whereas now, you know, we have got the likes of all these fantastic unis that are here and so much more culture.
They're building a film studio where that down thing. My Uber driver today said he thought it was a insurance job a couple of weeks ago. It burnt down.
I think we had the same Uber driver because my
there's just one going round spreading.
He's like, he stopped the car and was like this, and I was like, I need to get to my lecture, babe. It was funny though.
Conspiracies with your Uber driver.
That's the next podcast.
Like an old like
Scouse guy.
Yeah, that's literally every.
Every time. Oh no, actually.
What colour was his Uber? What colour was his Uber?
Oh,
can't even remember, Tanya.
No, I thought you asked me what colour he was, and I was like, whoa.
And on that note,
really great way to end it with a bit of a racial flair. Well, thank you so much for listening this time, guys.
If you did.
If you haven't.
Get in touch.
Yeah.
It's just all of us chatting together, meeting up, because it is women coming together, discussion on different things, different cultures, and it's all about discussion. So get talking.
It's all about girls.
Yeah, and if not, follow our social medias.
That's what I was gonna say, but I don't know the handle.
Follow our okay, guys. So please follow our social medias. On Instagram, it is the Tempest Studios. On Facebook, it's just the classic Tempest Studios. On
YouTube, we have 2, so just look for the one with the video.
We're working on our
and we've got another website is about to be published as well. So
do you want to give the link to the website?
Yes, it is www.wix.
We'll do it.
The info will be in
the info will be in
the
description.
We're going to put the social media info in the description.
Like and subscribe.
Thank you.
Thank you,
baby.
Bye,
guys.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye, baby.
Bye.
Bye, babies.
Bye, baby.